All right, well, everyone, welcome to the Expat Woman membership meetup. Very excited to be here today. We have several members joining us, so you'll get to hear from them and have them introduce themselves. And we also have a guest, Sheila, and maybe we'll have more guests join us later. But this is really a way for me to spotlight our members, and for those watching this live or a replay on social media, for you to learn about the Expat Women members and how you can be part of it. So I'm going to briefly introduce myself and then have my members introduce themselves and then any guests that join us. So my name is Naina Kaputi. I'm the founder and CEO of the Expat Woman. I founded the Expat Woman in 2010. I moved to the US in 2002. I came here to study film in New York and then stayed on here for love. So I call myself an accidental expat. I didn't come here planning to stay here. I seriously came here to study, but you know, marriage and love can change everything. And it's been 21 years. I came with like a suitcase, maybe suitcase and a half, and so had no plans. So it was a kind of a struggle for me to really figure out the whole expat life, and that led me to create the Expat Woman in 2013, because I think very often we create businesses from a pain or a need that we've felt or experienced, and we want to make it the path easier for others. So the Expat Woman has different buckets, and one of them is the membership, which is an inner circle for women who want that more one-on-one connection with me, with each other. And also, our members at different stages. We have members who have discovered their potential abroad, members who are doing amazing stuff but continue to invest in themselves and then showcase their expertise. And then we have members who are just starting off the expat journey or have just moved to another country or are planning to move and want to learn how to navigate life abroad, how to unlock their potential. Our members are so diverse. We have coaches, we have entrepreneurs, we have people working as executives in companies like TikTok and Apple and Meta, to name a few smaller businesses. We have authors, we have podcast hosts, we have Dominica, who runs a podcast here on the Expat Women. And I know that we again, I'm murdering your name. You told me how to do it. So Vile.
Yes, Vile.
Vile. Yes, sorry about that.
That's okay.
She's a YouTuber, and I have Anne, Monisha, Sindhu all also introduce themselves, and everyone else. So yes, that is a membership. Part of my goal with the membership, besides creating a community and providing resources and support, is to give our members a chance to showcase their expertise, step into the spotlight, inspire other women. If you see women like me, like Dominica, Sindhu and Monisha, Vile, you feel like if they can do this, I can do it too. And, they have so much knowledge and expertise to share. So I do host these virtual events. I do meetups like these. This one I'm recording, so you get to see it. But I also do LinkedIn audio events. I have the Expat Woman show. And since I have a huge network of expat women, over 10,000 at this point, because I've cleaned up the list a bit, I cannot showcase everyone. So I focus on my members and give them opportunities to, walk into the spotlight. And I am closing the doors to the membership to become a founding member. These are all founding members on May 16th at 11:59 p.m. PST. And that's why I'm also doing this. So I might walk people through the membership a little bit. But that's part of the reason why I wanted to share some of our members. We have some members who've been here a long time with the Expat Woman and some new members. So I'm going to start actually by going in member order. So Dominica, I don't know when Dominica joined, because I've known Dominica, I feel, forever, even though we have not met in person. Hopefully someday, Dominica. So I'm going to have you go ahead and introduce yourself, Dominica, and then I'll work around to all our other members. Go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Naina, for organizing this meetup. And that's true. I don't remember when we connected and how long I have been a member of the Expat Woman. I am originally from Poland. I am a long-term expat, a seasoned expat. I moved abroad over 20 years ago, so more than 2 decades. And I started as an expat student, then as an expat love, expat career, digital nomad, flexpat. So I have experienced all those different kinds of living abroad. I graduated in psychology, and I have been coaching expats for about 10 years, mainly women, and helping them in changing their careers abroad, finding a new career path, starting a business, or becoming an expat coach. As Naina mentioned, I had a podcast, The Expat Career and Lifestyle, for 10 years. Now I am doing video interviews for cross-cultural conversations, interviewing people on different, how to overcome cross-cultural differences between different countries, or how to adapt to a new country. So if you are thinking about joining the expat community, and this is the place to be if you want an expat, because it gives you possibility to connect with different expat women from different professional background. It's a great opportunity to collaborate, to be guests on Naina events, LinkedIn audio events, or summits. So it's a great way to share your experience and story and meet online, or if it's possible, in person with expat women living abroad.
Wonderful. Thank you, Dominica. And you're currently in Italy, right? Where are you?
Yes, I am now a little bit outside of Rome, on the seaside, and the weather today it's very nice. It's like summer.
Oh, wow, nice. And I know one of our members, Snezana, she couldn't join us today. She currently lives in, where does she live? I think Bulgaria. So she is
Uh-huh.
actually moving to Rome. So she and Dominica have already connected. So I love it. So you guys are going to get to meet each other very soon. And Dominica is giving her tips on, what expat life is like in Rome. So
Yeah, exactly.
wonderful. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Dominica. Next, I know Sindhu who joined us after Dominica. So Sindhu, do you want to go next?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Sindhu Chana. So I am a career matchmaker. So I help individuals with supply chain and procurement backgrounds find their next job opportunity. So I've actually been working with ExxonMobil. I work full time there, and I handle all of the expatriate assignments for them. So basically, like all the contractors, and I place them in globally, depending on the project and the scope. So I've placed people in over 30 countries. Just added on 2 new countries recently, so that'll be 32. I do, as a career matchmaker, I do one-on-one coaching where I help individuals get clarity and help them land a job in their field. And I joined the Expat Women around late last year, I would say. Yeah, like around maybe like November, December, something like that. I had been actually following an Expat Women for a while. And then I was like, oh, this is where I need to be. These are the people I want to, connect with and stuff. So when Nana had that open enrollment to be a part of the founding members, I was like, I have to seize this opportunity. And it's been amazing. I've actually been able to learn a lot, and I've been part of LinkedIn audio events, and we've done New Year reflections, goal setting, and all of that as well. And also I've been able to meet other members as well, and we've like connected. It's just been so diverse, and being able to learn from one another on what they do, what their strengths are. And so it's just been an amazing opportunity for me.
Thank you, Cindy. And I'm so glad you joined. And at that time, now we have a more active group. I think Cindy joined when, people were, when I hadn't really started pushing the membership. So she was like my cheerleader, and there she would like all my posts and comment and all. Now that I've started getting it more active, we have a very engaged group. And maybe share a little bit about your expat journey, because I know you've been in the US for a while, but
Yeah.
you were born somewhere else, right?
Yeah, so I was born in Pakistan, and then my family had migrated to Houston, Texas when I was about 6 years old. So I've done like all of my schooling, a bachelor's degree, all of that in Houston. And I was the first one from my family to go to college and to get a corporate job. So there was a lot of obstacles, a lot of learnings and things I had to figure out on my own because my parents, they weren't familiar with things here, right? So that was pretty interesting now that I reflect back on it, like everything, all the challenges that we had faced. But it definitely it was a great opportunity for my parents because they're like something to be for them to be proud of. And especially since I've been working in corporate, I've changed industries. And then like ever since I've been working with Exxon, like my parents just feel so much more like it's something for them to brag about to their friends. So that's been very interesting. But yeah, and I've been able to learn from other people, expats moving here with their families, or if they moved here for their master's program or bachelor's degrees. Even now, like some of my clients, like they're international students, so it's like just being able to learn about their experiences and like what struggles they've been going through. And I tell them like you have to be vocal about what you're going through because you're not the only one that's going through it. There's thousands of other people. So if you start being vocal about it, telling people your story, they're gonna relate. And that's how you end up building networks and relationships with people is based off of relatability.
That's beautiful. I didn't know your story, so thank you for sharing. Because I know that
Oh,
children of immigrants, or even if you come here and you're very young, it is a challenge because you're figuring out school yourself and the language, and then you also, I know, and sometimes you're translators for your parents or helping them with figuring out the new country. And congratulations on being the first
thank
in your
you.
family to
Thank
gone to
you.
college and working a corporate job. You've, I'm sure, achieved your parents' American dream. So I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
And now I know
Yeah.
you're, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, no, thank you for that. Yeah, and I think like even like once you come here as a young kid and stuff, right? Tr for your parents trying to like learn a new culture and then they still want to instill that your roots to you. That's always challenge and always conflicting because you want to be an American, you want to try to do things that your friends are doing, but then your parents are like, no, no, that's against our culture, religion, and stuff. So we had a lot of those fights like growing up.
I can imagine. I mean, I've heard stories of like kids taking their lunch. It's so different from like a typical local lunch. And I'm sure Monisha and other kids who have kids, and lived abroad, I'm sure that's a challenge, right? The third culture kid. I think that is a struggle for the children. Like my kids have no interest in like, my son was young, I'd turn on Bollywood films for him to watch, and he would like, I want to watch American cartoons. Because I was like, okay, let him at least listen to Hindi. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's just you. Yeah, it's a whole different world for third culture kids. So I understand. Yeah, thank you. And anyone, if you want to jump in when people are talking, ask them questions, add something. I don't want to be like this is not the Expat Woman show. I'm not just the only one interviewing. So just feel free. So you guys can also, add to the conversation, ask questions if you want to. Just unmute yourself. But yeah, we'll move forward and there'll be more chances to share stuff. And Anne joined us next, and then I'll have Vile, and then Munisha is our newest member. I think you only joined maybe last week, though I've known Munisha a long time online, and she's right now in my city. Go ahead, Anne.
That's fun. So my name is Ann Mackey, and I'm out of Wichita, Kansas. I personally have not been an expat, but my husband, as a child, lived as an expat, and he's a pilot, and he flies all over the world. So he's interacted with so many different people and cultures. And as a 21-year-old, I went with a friend of mine. We just put backpacks on our back and went to Europe and went to 5 different countries, lived on trains and in youth hostels, and had a lot of fun. So I speak a tiny bit of French, a tiny bit of Spanish, and I so wish I was more fluent in other languages. That's a goal for the future. But my background is medical speech pathology, and I just by happenstance was asked by a new hire nurse back when I lived in Colorado, after I toured our facility for that she needed to see the rehab department. She asked me if I could help her with her accent at the end of that tour. And I was like, what's wrong with your accent? You sound so beautiful. But it was an interesting experience for me. I had never really put myself in the shoes of someone who's an expat or who may struggle to be clearly understood because of their accent. But the long and short of that story was that she was going to work and hiding out in the corner and trying not to talk to anyone because she was very self-conscious about people not understanding her pronunciation. So much so that she said she would go home at night and cry to her husband. She had no friends. She was afraid she was making doctors angry, and the time pressure of being in a medical environment, trying to speak clearly and couldn't. But her sound, though, she said I would mispronounce words, and then I spell out the words, and then I mispronounce the letters of the words, and they don't understand me. And one of her letters was the letter H, that she couldn't pronounce it clearly. She said something more like Esh, and she was from the Philippines. And I said, well, you're a nurse and you're always interviewing people for their history, right? Do you ask them, what is your age? And she said, oh, yeah, I asked that. And I said, say that word. And she said it perfectly, age. And what I knew as a speech pathologist is that ch and j are the same sound. You simply have all air, ch, or you turn on your voice and you get j. So I'm like, sit down. So in 5 minutes, literally, we went from her struggling to say the letter H to learning to turn off her voicing for that sound, and she pronounced it perfectly. And I was so excited. I was like her cheerleader. And so, you did it. This is so awesome. You did it great. And it was her reaction that just absolutely, I don't know, it totally changed me. My heart like grew 3 sizes that day because she said that, she said it perfectly, and her reaction was her eyes welled with tears. She was in shock. She covered her mouth. She was like, I really did. I said it right. And I just wanted to cry like, oh my gosh, how many people are stuck, struggling. They don't know that they could just polish a couple of little things that would make what they say clearly understood to any listener. And so that's when I began my business that is called Clear Speech Specialists, that I've been doing now for 20 years. And I specialize working with medical professionals and doctors who are international medical graduates, but I will work with anyone, engineers, professors, whomever. But the thing is, if you do a personality test on me, I'm the circle. I'm like the one that wants to put everyone together, and we're all happy and joyful, and we all respect each other. And I feel like I have a little piece of that puzzle that I can help on both sides. I can help someone who does want to be clearly understood. And some people don't. They're like, I know I'm not easily understood and I don't want to work on it. And I totally respect that. That's not an issue. But if someone wants to kind of approximate sort of the middle pronunciation that anyone can understand, that's where I come in. And it doesn't even take that long for many people. So I teach the pronunciation piece, the accent piece to be understood. And I just embarked on starting to teach everyone how to better understand accents. So no matter the different language background you come from, your accent is normal. We love accents. We want to keep accents, but we can polish a little bit to get to the middle, and then the listeners can understand the predictable patterns of a German English speaker or a Hindi English speaker or a Japanese English speaker. There are predictable patterns we can learn. So we jump into those conversations, and now guess what? We actually communicated, and we have the trust and the respect and the belonging and all those things that can otherwise be lost. So I'm thrilled that in 2 days, I am talking to another group that's very similar to this in a way, a similar mission of really supporting the people who are expats or immigrants or working, in this case, medical doctors who studied in their home country. They're now coming to the US. They're learning how to take the medical exams for the US and be placed in residency programs. They're from every country around the world, and they get together twice a year in person to socialize. Sorry, I've seen 10 people for accent training already since 5:30 this morning, so my voice is going, ah. Anyway, they are getting together in their gathering sessions and they're not understanding each other because of the accents. So I offered to teach a live webinar on Thursday to this group of medical doctors who are from other countries in the US to help them understand accents a little bit better. So it's an introductory. And so that's what I'm doing on Thursday. And I just hope it blesses them with confidence that they're fine if they have an accent. No one has to sound like a native speaker, but hey, there's something I can do to better understand my colleagues. I can learn those predictable patterns and they'll have even better connections, hopefully. So
Wonderful.
that's what I do.
Thank you. And I know we will be rescheduling your workshop on for the Expat Woman members on how to understand accents. So
Great.
everyone stay tuned for that. And I'll come back to you about why you joined the Expat Woman, because you represent those folks who are not expats, but you still joined our membership. And I want people to know that you don't have to have lived abroad. You could have a connection because you're a partner or spouse, your job, or your business. But we'll come back to you. Let's have Vile introduce herself, and then we'll go to Monisha, and then we'll have our guest, Sheila. I'd love to hear from Sheila as well. Go ahead.
Hi everyone, I'm Veerle. I'm currently based in the Netherlands. That's where I'm originally from as well. But the first time that I moved abroad was about 14 years ago as an exchange student to Spain. And afterwards, I've lived a few months in Cambodia for an internship with the United Nations after I graduated from law school. And eventually I moved to Australia for 3 years, where I worked as an immigration consultant. And I was helping expats with their visa processes and working with global companies who would send their employees around the world. But then after 3 years, during the pandemic, I lost my job and my visa. And suddenly I was back in the Netherlands without a plan. I had no idea what I wanted to do as a next step in my life. And I was like so confused. And that's actually when I just decided to like shift my whole career, and I got certified as a travel coach and afterwards as a life coach as well. And I decided to help other people who were going through the challenges of moving countries or living abroad, basically all the challenges that I had gone through, not just moving back to my home country, but also living abroad before, like the challenges like homesickness and culture shock and loneliness and meeting new friends, like all of those topics, to help other people with that as well. So my coaching is really focused on how you can thrive in a new environment. And also for people who, for example, want to include more travel into their life, sometimes want to escape the 9 to 5 and move somewhere new, or try out the digital nomad lifestyle. So it's quite diverse, like all types of scenarios. And I really love it because I feel like it's so beautiful when you can combine travel and personal growth in whatever way that is unique to you, and help you grow as a person as well. So when I came across the Expat Women, I was actually excited because I wasn't really part of any group like that. And I felt like I missed that connection of sharing like experiences and stories with each other, but also learn from others and see or just collaborate with others who have expertise in this field as well, or connect and yeah, just share more. So I'm very excited to be part of this and yeah, connect with everyone.
And we're so happy to have you, Vile. And travel coaching sounds really interesting. And I know you and Monisha, because Monisha is a travel coach as well. So I'm glad you both are here. So you can, because I did tell you both, I think in the membership on the core group, you should connect because you'll have some similarities. But, you know, I wanted to add to what you just said about traveling and how it helps with personal growth. I so agree, because for some of us, like, I would love to live in other countries. I know it sounds glamorous, and I'm sure Monisha and Dominica and you who have lived in different countries, no, it's not as glamorous as it seems, because it is hard initially, right? I had a lot of struggles when I moved to the US. But I like the thing about travel coaching, because you can still experience another country for a while and, you know, pretend you're an expat and do all the stuff that, you know, and you just learn. And it does, like, I try and go, the last few years as my kids have grown older, we try and travel abroad every year to a new country. just to experience it. And for my kids, I feel it's like an education for them. It's like a geography, psychology lesson, like an expensive one, but it's so worth it because I just think those experiences just develop you as a person, the challenges and the excitement. Because even when you go abroad for a short time or you travel, you're still experiencing some challenges because there is some culture shock or something that's so different, or the accents, or if you don't speak the language, figuring it out. So I just love this whole concept of travel coaching and yeah, so thanks for sharing and thank you for joining us in the membership. And there we have Monisha, who's actually
Hi,
just
everyone.
who's just moved another traveling here from Japan. So
Yeah,
talking about traveling, go ahead, Monisha.
I just flew in yesterday. I actually was very proud of myself to discover that I could have Mother's Day for like 48 hours. So I had Mother's Day with my youngest son who lives with me in Japan yesterday. He made breakfast and we had a lovely day. And then I got on a plane and traveled back in time and had Mother's Day with my oldest son here in California and my mom. So I'm patting myself on the back for that one. But hi everyone, it is so good to see you all. So yeah, I'm Manisha Merchandani. Nina and I met, I think, during the pandemic, right? Nina, we had connected and we did a clubhouse together. If anybody remembers when that was popular for a minute, or maybe it's still popular, but I'm not really on it. But we had a great experience, and I've been following Nina ever since. And I was really excited when this opportunity came up because, Vile, like you said, like just being with other people, thinking about the similarities we all have. So I'm really excited to be a part of this group. So my story is that I was actually born in the UK. And my parents moved to Canada when I was 6 months old. And then when I was 10, we moved to Canada. So, sorry, to California. And so, settled in California. And when I met my husband, we were dating at the time, he had an opportunity to move to Japan. And, he asked me if I wanted to go with him. And I thought, well, I think I need to be married to go with you. So we got married and we moved to Japan. There was a lot of love and all of that, but it was also the idea that we didn't want to let each other be in different countries. So we moved to Japan, and that was 26 years ago, and we have since lived in 4 different countries, all in Asia. Bounced a little bit back and forth from Japan because my husband does speak Japanese. So currently I do live in Japan, and my youngest is going to school there. He's in the 11th grade. So I just have a couple more years maybe of living in Japan. And I've also taken my dog there. So that's my personal part of my life. What I've been doing professionally, before I met my husband, I was working as a stockbroker and I was in finance. Living in San Francisco on market and just enjoying that kind of lifestyle. When I met him, when we started moving, I left my job for a little while, and basically in the first year, had my first son, and didn't really go back to work for a few years, but realized that I really wanted to bring my own passions back into my life. So I certified and became a financial planner. I did that for a few years, but then we moved again overseas, and I just couldn't keep the financial planning going because of all the regulations. And finances are very regulated when you're moving from country to country, even state to state, to be honest. But I was a little bigger than that. So I decided to dig deep into what I really like to do, and I certified myself as a health and wellness coach. And that really opened up, because for me, I wanted to work with people. I wanted to help people with their wellness. And if it wasn't going to be financial, then it was going to be, mental and physical. So I became a certified life and wellness coach, slowly transitioned into becoming a life coach, and then also a travel coach. So I'm excited to talk to Vile about that because of all the travel, the experiences that I have and the authenticity I can bring to somebody is that I've been there. I've done all the things that I'm talking about. So now I'm a certified aromatherapist, and I help expats with their wellness. And I like to say with their lifestyle wellness and their travel wellness, and helping people just really feel their best while they travel, when they move overseas, when they're living this new life in a new country and they have to discover and go through challenges that maybe aren't as simple as they would be when they're in their own country, mentally and physically. So basically in the natural healthcare space, and also promote travel wellness. And, I've had 13 international moves under my belt, and I've had 3 kids in 3 different countries and graduated. Now it seems as though I'm graduating 3 kids from high school in 3 different countries as well. So it's kind of been a little bit of a pattern for us. But, as a trilling spouse, which I don't love the term, but, it's the reality of what I'm doing. I'm traveling around and living in other countries based on my husband's job. And so my networks are very similar to me. It's a lot of mostly women who are traveling because of their husband's job. So maybe they're leaving their own professions, they're leaving families behind, they're traveling and trailing their spouses. So within that, we've created these amazing communities of expat women that come together. We support each other. We're our chosen family for each other. And we're just all thriving overseas. And every now and then there are people who are not thriving. And that's really where we like to bring them in and give them the tools and the support and the love that they need to, thrive overseas. So I do coaching, I do workshops, and I'm working on some other kind of like online courses and an ebook and things like that to help people through the transitions that they go through when they travel and create families abroad.
Wow, Manisha, I didn't know you like the amount of travel. I mean, countries I knew you were like a few countries, but you did, and kids in 3 different countries. Wow, that is a lot. So you could be the poster child for the trailing spouse, but in a good sense, because and I think maybe doing health and wellness and all has helped you too. I'm sure mentally, because I'm sure it's not easy. And look, you came in yesterday and you look fresh as a daisy. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate this group, and I can't usually make these times because in Japan it's about, I think it's 1 a.m. So usually this time. So I do appreciate being able to catch this before I leave tomorrow for New York for my son's graduation. So
I know this is
excited.
great timing. I'm so happy. I'm sorry we can't meet in person, but and then the sad thing is I'm going to Japan in July, and then Monisha will be in San Francisco. So I don't even think we'll get to meet each other. So that is so sad. Yeah, but maybe someday we'll do like a meetup somewhere in the world, maybe in Italy near Dominica, because I haven't been. All right. So, and let's now, before we all start more discussions, because I'm sure that, everyone shared such interesting backgrounds. Maybe some of you might have to leave too. I know I'd said half an hour, but if, people want to stay on, we can do some networking and maybe more sharing. But we have a guest here today, Sheila. So Sheila, we'd love to hear from you where you're based, what you do, and are you an expat or planning to become one, or do you provide services? Go ahead, Sheila.
Hi, so nice to meet you all. And I love hearing all about your stories and backgrounds. So thanks for sharing and thanks for having me today. So I'm Sheila. I'm based here in Miami, Florida, actually. And so I'm not personally an expat. I actually used to support international students in my previous work with Arizona State, where a lot of our international students were not getting visas. And so my job was to help them find work in their home countries. And that's actually how I came to know Expat and Nina and her work pre-pandemic. And so at this point in my life, I'm actually helping companies expand to Florida, in particular Miami, Latin America into Miami, because again, it's a natural, there's so many synergies here. And so one of the things that I see as a benefit as part of the Expat Women is just being able to be a bridge, because my parents, they moved here from Haiti. And at a young age, I grew up in Brooklyn and then moved to Miami, went to school here, and spent some time in Arizona, spent about 10 years there, and focused really on higher education and also helping workforce development. And so my work here in Miami is really based in helping, companies and their families, immigrate to US. And my partner is also an expat. He's actually part Peruvian and half Italian. And so I was eager to hear about Dominica being near Rome. He's actually from Genova. And so just have always been a big fan of international relations and being able to be a resource because it is hard. I'm also a first generation student who had to translate for my parents, write out the checks for the mortgages and, in long form on the checks just because I was the only one that could do it in the house. And, just to see that now they're retired, they're happy, and just for them to see all of their kids grow and the fact that they were so focused on getting us a good education, it's really paying off. And so just really excited to connect with you all.
That's beautiful. Thanks for sharing. So you're in first, second generation, and no, actually first because you were not born. You were born in Haiti, you said, right?
Oh no, actually
You were
birth in
born here,
Brooklyn.
but you grew
Mhm.
up with you grew up with immigrant parents. I mean, in some ways,
Yes.
Sindhu, and you would have similar experiences, or even Monisha, I think, when your parents come from another country. So yeah, thanks for. And is this your own business, or do you work for a company?
It's my own business
Oh,
now that I'm
wow.
starting. Exactly. And so it's been exciting because I was recently laid off in March. And so it gave me an opportunity to sit back and say, okay, what do I want to do? And so looking back at my past experience, we found, again, together with my partner, my husband has been very active in helping companies. And so with my background with workforce development and economic development, we were like, hey, we've got something here. Let's work on it. And it brings us joy. So just grateful that it all came together.
That's very cool. I love it. Thank you. So now, how do you guys want to move ahead? Do you guys want to do like a group networking, or do you want to do like, do you want to stay on and do like some one-on-one, and I can put people in little breakout rooms maybe for 5 or 10 minutes? Do you want to just chat over here? Now that you've all introduced yourself and shared, why you joined the Expat Woman, what you do, because this was a great spotlight, and I want to thank my members, Vile, Dominica, Monisha, Sindhu, and Anne for joining me and Shuk spotlighting the Expat Woman membership, because we will be closing the doors on May 16th at 11:59 p.m. So this is the last opportunity to join as a founding member. I will open the doors again once I get, feedback from these members and, work on the membership. And hopefully, Sheila, might be interested in joining us as a founding member, because I'm sure you'll bring a lot of expertise and experience
Yeah.
with the kind of work you do. And also you can see some of our amazing members here. These are just a few of them. It's great. I've got to know so many people, and I've not met any of these members in person, but I feel like I know them all, and I just love it. It just gives me a lot of joy, having this intimate group of women living abroad or interested in expat life. So I know, Vile, you said you have to leave. So I'm going to officially close this with the recording part, and then we can decide what we want to do. Before I do that, Anne, very quickly, you were the only one who didn't share why you didn't join, I mean, why you joined the Expat Woman. So very quickly in a couple of, what made you join as someone who's not an expat but has an expat partner.
Yes. And my apologies for going on before. I missed the introductory guidance on that part. So I'm joining because I absolutely love culture. I love the variance, the diversity that is available through the Expat Women. And I actually am here in part to be supportive if anyone does need my services, but I'm here to also learn. I really want to facilitate that, be a voice out there to share about what the Expat Women group does, but also to really learn what are people going through and how can I help communicate that to the people in my circles, of influence, so that we really begin to understand and cross over whatever stressors and things, make those all a little easier for everyone on this journey. And I just am so impressed with everyone I've met. It's just the best group, and this loving, caring, supportive environment we just need more of that, I think, all around the world. So I hope many, many more people join the Expat Women group.
I agree. And I think when women from across the world come together, and it definitely, you get to understand cultures, and I think it makes you more tolerant and supportive and empathetic, and also it's exciting to learn. Like even today, just listening to everyone's stories, I just get so excited. It's just so fast. I'm just fascinated by culture and the world, and just you can see Sheila has born in the US, but she's still starting like a company that helps immigrants move to Miami. That it just shows, yeah. Okay, so Cindy has to go, but I just want to officially wind this down. Close this out. So I just want to thank you all for joining me. For those who are watching it, those who are interested in joining the Expat Woman, I will share the link in whatever platform I share, but it's the expatwoman.com/membership. If the doors are closed, you can add your name to the waiting list. So thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording now. If I can figure out how to do it, and then we'll just.